Jimmy Donaldson was 13 years old, broke, living in Greenville, North Carolina, with parents who had gone bankrupt when he uploaded his first YouTube video. Nobody watched it. For the next 4 years, almost nobody watched anything he made. He kept going anyway, not because it was working, but because he was obsessively studying why some videos worked and others didn't. He wasn't learning filmmaking. He wasn't learning storytelling. He was learning the human brain. On June 12, 2026, Jimmy Donaldson became the first person in the history of the internet to reach 500 million YouTube subscribers. Not a record label, not a corporation, not a government channel. One person, 500 million people who voluntarily chose to follow him. And the reason almost nobody talks about is not the production budget, not the challenges, not the thumbnails. It is something much older and much stranger than any of that. It is what happens inside your brain when you watch someone give money away. In the 1990s, economists studying human decision-making noticed something that didn't fit their models. When people were given money and told they could keep all of it or share some with a stranger they would never meet, who could never repay them, who had no power over them whatsoever, most people gave some away. Not because they had to, not because anyone was watching, just because it felt good. They called the feeling that drove this behavior warm glow, a genuine neurological reward that the brain produces not just when you receive something, but when you witness someone else receiving something. Neuroscientists took this into brain scanners and confirmed it. When you watch someone else receive money, your nucleus accumbens, the brain's primary reward center, the same region that fires when you eat food you love, when you fall in love, when you achieve something you've been working toward, activates. Not as strongly as if you receive the money yourself, but it activates. You get a portion of the reward. Watching someone else win produces a real neurological response in the person watching. Scientists call this vicarious reward, and it is one of the most powerful and underexplored mechanisms in the human brain. Now think about what MrBeast actually makes. Not challenges, not stunts, not production value. What he makes, at the neurological level, is a continuous delivery system for vicarious reward. Every video is a carefully engineered sequence of other people receiving things. Money, houses, cars, sight, the ability to walk. 1,000 people competing for $5 million. The format changes. The mechanism never does. And your brain responds to every single one the same way. Nucleus accumbens. Warm glow. Real dopamine. For free. He figured this out not in a university, not in a boardroom, but alone in his bedroom at 13, watching videos and asking a question nobody else was asking. Why do people keep watching this? And the answer he landed on, without knowing the neuroscience term for it, was that humans are wired to feel good when other humans get good things. He didn't invent this response. He just learned to feed it at a scale nobody had ever attempted before. But here is where it gets more interesting. Because vicarious reward alone doesn't explain 500 million subscribers. Something else is happening that goes even deeper. In 2006, researchers at the University of Zurich put 50 people in a study and gave half of them money to spend on themselves and the other half money to spend on someone else. 4 weeks later, they put all 50 inside brain scanners and measured neural activity during a social sharing task. The people who had spent money on others showed significantly higher activity in the regions associated with generosity, happiness, and social connection. Not just in the moment of giving. 4 weeks later, the brain had reoriented itself. Watching MrBeast does something similar. Because the warm glow of witnessing generosity doesn't just reward you for watching. It primes you to want to keep watching. Each video ends, and your brain has been rewarded. The next video starts, and your brain is already anticipating the next reward. The feedback loop is biological, automatic, and essentially identical to the mechanisms behind every other rewarding behavior humans engage in compulsively. He produces a new video every week. The loop never closes. There is one more layer to this that explains something nobody has quite managed to articulate about why MrBeast specifically works, as opposed to any other person who gives things away on camera. In 2003, a neuroscientist named Jamil Zaki at Stanford began studying what makes people generous toward strangers. What he found was that the key variable was not wealth, not morality, not even empathy in the general sense. It was a specific cognitive ability called mentalizing, the brain's capacity to simulate another person's internal experience, to actually imagine what it feels like to be them. When a stranger receives something on a MrBeast video, the production is engineered to maximize your mentalizing response. The cameras find the person's face at the moment of receiving. They hold on the reaction, the tears, the disbelief. The moment someone who couldn't afford surgery can suddenly see again, or a family who lost everything walks into a house that has been rebuilt. The production doesn't just show you what happened. It forces your brain to simulate what that person is feeling in the most neurologically efficient way possible. Your dorsomedial prefrontal cortex, the mentalizing region, fires. You are not just watching someone receive a house. You are, in the most literal neurological sense, briefly experiencing receiving a house. The warm glow you feel is not empathy in the soft sentimental meaning of the word. It is a measurable neurological event. Dopamine, oxytocin, a genuine reduction in cortisol. Real physiological effects produced by watching a stranger on a screen receive something good. Jimmy Donaldson has spoken about this, in his own language, without the neuroscience vocabulary. In interviews, he has described spending years before anyone watched him studying what made people feel something while watching a video. He wasn't interested in what made people click. He was interested in what made them feel. Because he understood, before the research confirmed it, that the feeling was the product. Not the money. Not the challenge. The feeling. He was also unusually honest about what he learned. The money in MrBeast videos, the houses, the cars, the $5 million Beast Games prize, is not the point of the videos. It is the mechanism that produces the feeling. Remove the stakes, and the feeling collapses. Keep the stakes, and the feeling scales with them. This is why his production budget and his giveaway amounts have grown together, not separately. Not because bigger is better as an aesthetic choice. Because bigger is better as a neurological delivery mechanism. A $500 giveaway produces a smaller vicarious reward than a $500,000 one. A person given new shoes produces a smaller mentalizing response than a person given back their eyesight. The brain scales its response to the magnitude of what it witnesses. He understood this before he had words for it. By the time MrBeast was 24 years old, he had helped 2,000 people walk again, restored sight to 1,000 blind people, and given hearing to 1,000 people who had been deaf. He planted 20 million trees. He removed 30 million pounds of trash from the ocean. These are not marketing statistics. They are the accumulated output of a system he built by understanding one thing better than almost anyone alive. What the human brain cannot resist feeling when it watches another human being receive something good. 500 million people didn't subscribe because the videos are expensive. They didn't subscribe because the editing is fast or the thumbnails are loud. They subscribed because somewhere in the nucleus accumbens, the brain keeps a tally of which sources in the world reliably produce a good feeling. And once a source makes that list, the brain pulls you back toward it with the same mechanisms it uses to pull you back toward food, toward love, toward sleep. Jimmy Donaldson is on 500 million people's list. He got there by feeding the oldest reward system in the human brain, at a scale nobody had ever attempted, one stranger's reaction at a time.